Hi there, welcome to the YouTube channel, and here we go again. We did another main set Avatar Legend, and it is today something a bit unusual for the colour combination in that it's Toph, the first Metalbender, 1 red, green and white for a 3/3 human warrior ally. But this is where it gets interesting. Non-token artifacts you control are lands in addition to other types. They don't gain the ability to tap for mana. Okay, and at the beginning of your end step you get to Earthbend 2. So you turn your artifacts into lands that then become 2/2 creatures that don't tap for mana. Well, maybe not tap for mana. There are ways around that I've worked out. Yeah, it's usually unusual because usually with this colour combination, it's very much about ramp, control the borders and burn, and then big creatures to finish everything off. This is very much about getting your artifacts in play and then taking it from there and basically winning through attacking with your artifacts. Yeah, it's still strange in my head. So anyway, here we go. Here's what today's deck really does look like. We got 28 creatures in the deck, some of which are artifacts. I'm starting with Ornithopter because that's basically becomes a land that flies, that then gets earthbent and then gets a little bit better, if I read the rules right. Badgermole Cub, I think, is going to be one of the chase cards from the set as well. This creature enters, you get to Earthbend 1, and then whenever you tap a creature for mana, add an additional green. Okay then. Bristling Bill's a bit of a no-brainer to chuck around some more +1/+1 counters and make all of our Earthbend creatures bigger eventually when we double the number of +1/+1 counters. Another one of the cards I think is going to be Chase is the Great Divide Guide. This is how you get around your whole can't add mana. Because this gives each land the ability to tap and add 1 mana of any colour. So that works for me. Haru Hidden Talent is also in just for another little bit of Earthbend fun. And we have some allies as well, because obviously, you know, our commander's an ally, a couple of the other creatures are allies. So we get a little bit of earthbending with this guy when it happens. Joiner Adept is another way of making sure all our lands can tap for any mana of any colour. Lotus Cobra, just to give us that ramp. And then Dryad of the Elysian Grove. Lands you control every basic type in addition to other types. I think that also means we can tap them for mana, so I think it gets around it then, so we'll see. Evolution Sage is in just because we're going to drop lands quite a lot, and then we might as well proliferate and make the ones with Earthbended bigger. Feral Invoker comes in. I decided to have a bit of fun with this one, Floral Invoker even. Whenever a land you control enters, you get to put a +1/+1 on here. And then if for some reason one of your lands does end up in your graveyard, you can discard a creature card and return the land from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So it does get your way getting some of your lands back if need be. Mossborn Hydra, a bit of a no-brainer. We'll just keep doubling this up and making this massive. Likewise, Tanic Memorial Ensigns in as well, just to chuck around that little bit of extra damage, and if we get 2 lands to come into play, we get to draw a card as well, so that's good. Tireless Provisioner, landfall, we get food or treasures, and Tireless Tracker, we just get a whole load of clues, which is nice with this deck to give us some card draw. Toph, the Blind Bandit, also makes an appearance as another ally, so it will trigger our other character from above. And Earthbend 2, but Toph's power is equal to the number of +1/+1 counters on lands you control, so this guy gets big quickly. Bright Glass Gearhulk is a bit of a strange inclusion, I'll be honest. I was looking for a way to search out some of the artifacts we've got coming up, and yeah, this kind of does it for us, so yay. Earth Kingdom General is also in. Comes in, you Earthbend 2, and then whenever you put 1 or more +1/+1 counters on a creature, you gain that much life. You only do it once each turn, but you know, a little bit of life swing's always good fun. Oben, the Muldir Ancestor, turns one of our lands into an elemental XX. With Trample and Haste, where X, until the end of turn, where X is Obo's power, it's still a land. And obviously, when a land comes into play, we get to put a +1/+1 on here, so we soon make our creatures pretty big. Roaming Throne just helps us trigger all our ally synergies every so often. It's a triggered ability for Toph because it's the beginning of the end step. I believe that's a triggered ability anyway, so hopefully it works. If not, I've boo-booed, so let me know in the comments down below. Although I'm pretty sure it is a triggered ability because it's the beginning of the end step. So yeah, we'll go with that. I'll pretend it is. Solemn Sim goes and finds the basic. You'll know what this does. The Boulder Ready to Rumble is also in. Earthbend 4 when it attacks. And then you get to Earthbend X, sorry, when X is the number of creatures you control with power 4 or greater. Yeah, okay then. We'll cope with that. The Badger Mole is also into Earthbend 2 and giving all our creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them trample. And Boomy Unleashed enters, we get to Earthbend 4, and then whenever it deals combat damage to a player, untap all lands we control. After this phase, there is an additional combat phase, and only land creatures can attack. Okay, then, we'll go with that. To help us get there, we've got Oran Frostfang in to make sure all our attacking creatures have Death Touch, so it makes our lands kind of dangerous for anyone blocking them. And then we also have a little bit more fun for an additional combat step with Morag, Fury of Akum, we'll go with that. And then a couple of traditional landfall creatures, Rampaging Baloths, Avenger of Zendikar, and Onmath Locus of Rage are in just to really benefit from all the lands we're dropping. Only 4 sorceries in the deck, Farseek, Nature's Law, 3 visits, and then Hour of Revelation, because our artifacts become lands when this goes off. I believe if you cast this, they stay in play, especially if they've become earthbended, so I think I'm right, but I may be wrong, so this may be a bad mistake, but I'm pretty sure I'm right on this one. Just 3 instants, Path to Exile, Source the player shares control the board, and Heroic Intervention to protect everything if we need it to. I mean, yeah, we can cast this, make everything indestructible, then cast the Hour of Revelation if we need to, so bear that in mind. And then we have the artifacts. We've got, and a lot of them have got 0 cost. So we've got Chrome Mox. We can exile, a card we need to tap mana, or we can just drop it down as a 0 casting artifact that becomes a land. Then you've got a target for our Earthbend. Same with Everflowing Chalice and Mox Amber. Mox Jasper's in, even though we've got no dragons in here. I want another 0 drop. This is one card you could quite happily drop off, or you can go and find a dragon and put in if you want to. But this was just another cheap way of getting an Earthbend card in. So it potentially can come out, but I'm leaving it in for now just to try it out. If it all goes pear-shaped, well, it goes pear-shaped, and I've made a boo-boo. But it's here because I wanted to try it out. Mox Tantalite, Soul Talisman to give us the ramp we need. And then Zuran Orb, we can sacrifice our lands off if we need to and gain a whole load of life, which is quite weird because when all of our non-token, when Toph's in play, all of our artifacts become lands, so we can sack them off to gain 2 life. Yeah, okay, we can do that. Amulet of Vigor's in, just stop everything coming into play tapped, because obviously when the lands die they come back into play tapped, and we want them to come into play untapped, so the amulet's in. Elixir of Immortality is here to shove everything back in when it goes pear-shaped. Soul Ring's in just to give us that ramp as well. And then the Ozolith. So we might as well chuck all our +1/+1 counters somewhere. And they might as well go on here for us to do next time if we need to. So sounded like a plan to me. Signet for ramp. The Dolmen Gate's also in. This is my personal choice. It's prevent all combat damage that we dealt to attacking creatures you control. So it keeps your lands kind of semi-indestructible, sort of. Pearl Stone for the ramp, and then we've got ramp in with Green Monolith, Grim Monolith in, and that's there. I mean, it is a game changer. You can take it out if you want to, but I just wanted some more ramp, so it went in. It's also a cheap artifact at 2 mana, so it kind of helps with our earthbending side of things once we have Toph in play. Horn of the Mark just gives us a way to find some of the other creatures we have in our deck. Howling Mine gives us the card draw and is another cheap artifact. Mindstone, ramp, and then the medallions are all in. Pearl, Ruby, and... Oh, okay, maybe there's only Pearl and Ruby. I thought I'd put all 3 in. Missed one. Yeah, sorry. Just the Ruby and the Pearl then for today. Forgot about the green one, but that's my bad. You can drop it in. There's enough lands you can take one out and put in if you want to. Strionic Resonators in, just so we can copy the ability of Toph if we need to, and likewise Lithothorm Engines in to do exactly the same thing. These become expensive kind of non-artifact land cards, so bear that in mind, but they're good to copy the ability of Toph. From there, Hardened Scales, because we are playing +1/+1 counters along with Branching Evolution. The Earthbender Ascension is also in. This comes into play, you get to Earthbend 2, and then search our library for a basic land and put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle, so it does quite a lot of goodness for 3 mana. And then you get the landfall ability. Whenever a land you control enters, put a quest counter on this enchantment. If this has 4 more quest counters on it, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It gains trample till the end of turn. Yeah, we should be able to get the quest counters up on here quite quickly, especially since we can proliferate them as well. Terror Eternal is old school from World Wake, if I remember correctly. Makes all our lands indestructible. Like that plan, as you can imagine, since we're going to be attacking with them. Terracinosis just in as well, coming in from Edge of Eternity, so we can get some more +1/+1 counters and do a bit of card drawing. Well, not more +1. When we put them on, we get the card draw. And then Annie joins up. Because Toph is a triggered ability, which I am 99.9% sure of, that means if we have this in play and Toph in play, we get to do it again. Or Toph, sorry. I will get around to watching the last Avatar at some stage and get the pronunciations right, so sorry if I butchered them through this video. Beyond that, all the usual red, green and white lands you'd expect, but one of the new lands is in Baseling Sea. Is a new land, enters the battlefield, tapped unless you control a basic. You can tap it to add green, but then you can do 2 and a green to earthbend 2. You can only do it as a sorcery, but it does mean you've got another way of earthbending some of your lands to start attacking with. Nothing else here that's of any relevance at all. They're just all the usual lands you'd expect to see, and that's it. Well, that is my take on Toph, the first Metalbender. Yeah. Interesting having so many artifacts in the deck in the 3 colours, as I said at the start of the video. So I am looking forward to trying this one out on MTGO, which you'll be able to see very shortly, because as this video comes out today, I think tonight should be the pre-release. Well, the draft night on MTGO, so we'll be here. But then we'll play some Commander later in the week. So there's a link down below to Twitch. Come and give me a follow over there, like 310 of you have so far. I've lost a couple of subscribers here on YouTube this week since I recorded yesterday's video, so I'm down to 789 as I record this video. So please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the cheer button if you can. Help me beat the YouTube algorithm. And I'll be back tomorrow with another legend from Avatar. So thanks for watching. Take care. See you soon. Bye bye.